Next on Gallery, it takes more than an artist to get art to audiences. A lot of work goes on behind the scenes to pull off that cool exhibit you attended the other night. In Oklahoma, an organization called the Oklahoma Visual Arts Coalition does much of the heavy lifting.
We now track over 6,000 visual artists in Oklahoma.
It takes a lot of seemingly mundane work to bring off fancy feats of art for all, and it's done by a small staff in a modest office in Northwest Oklahoma City. Find out how art works. Plus, with a career spanning over 30 years, Oklahoman Benjamin Harjo Jr. is considered one of the nation's leading American Indian artists. His highly stylized mosaics offer explosions of color that dazzle the eye. Harjo's work often reflects a playful sense of humor, either in comical imagery or clever titles. Come with us as we meet Benjamin in his private studio for a first-hand encounter with his whimsical spirit of line and color.
Partial funding for Gallery is made possible by the Pauline Dwyer Mecklenburg and Robert A. Mecklenburg Jr. Foundation and by Jasmine and Melvin Moran.
I think we've always had a really incredibly thriving arts community. Sometimes it's been a little more under the radar than others, but for the most part, there have been some very, very creative people that have come out of this environment for as long as I can remember.
Art is trying to grapple with our time. Where we are as a community, I hear from artists every day who are trying to understand what does it mean? What is changing about our society? And they're trying to infuse that into their artwork. Who else is really spending time looking at the way that our community looks? Trying to depict it in whatever form, whether realistically or abstractly, and trying to understand our time.
I think that the arts are very important in the way that they kind of suggest possibly new ways of kind of thinking through issues and thinking through sort of experience. And it's good to have groups like OVAC encouraging contemporary work, encouraging people to sort of create work that speaks to their lived experiences right now, that speaks to the experiences of this community.
It takes a lot of work for an artist to be self-sustaining with using their art alone, and there's a lot of resources here in the state. We're really lucky to have places like OVAC.
OVAC supports artists in that they help artists to realize their dreams, connect with other artists, give them the business tools that they need to become, sustaining.
In other states, a lot of things are regional, local, but OVAC, we really try hard to make sure we're all over the state, all the time.
Well, I think the Oklahoma Visual Arts Coalition is the linchpin that holds the arts community together.
Welcome to Command Central for some of the swankiest, hippest, most popular events held in Oklahoma. But you might not know it if you only visit. Command Central is anything but swanky and hip. The Oklahoma Visual Arts Coalition, OVAC for short, is a nonprofit organization established in 1988 to support individual artists across the state.
OVAC came out of a group of artists that used to get together regularly and complain about the lot for artists, and that in Oklahoma people didn't respect them and nationally they weren't respected. And really this group decided that Instead of complaining, let's do something positive and figure out how we can get resources for artists to really encourage them.
Executive Director Julia Kurt took the helm at OVAC 14 years ago.
Our mailing list was tiny at that time, maybe 400 or 500. I'm sure there were many more artists making work, we just didn't know about them. We now track over 6,000 visual artists in Oklahoma.
The 5 employees here do mammoth work for the arts in Oklahoma, not only organizing 16 annual exhibits and events statewide, but maintaining a database on thousands of artists and galleries.
We constantly put in updates for, anything is like address and emails, current websites, anytime an artist updates their website or their Twitter address. And so mostly it's just a big resource and depository of information. It's one of our key resources, but then it's also where we have the information that we include in our resource guide and directory.
Visitors to the OVAC website can browse through pages of work from 500 Oklahoma artists.
Artists from all over the state are represented in the Oklahoma Visual Arts Coalition. And you go to their website and you can see information about them. I refer people to their website all the time when they're asking, well, I want to get artists from Oklahoma, or I want this kind of art, or I want that kind of art. I always refer them to the OVAC website. It's the place to go to find out the best of the best.
OVAC may be tracking thousands of artists in Oklahoma, but only about 800 are members of the organization.
Our members are the people who help sustain us through funding. They pay a membership and we give them something back. The people on our database are the artists we've encountered through the state, through workshops, volunteers. Not everyone's a member, but we know of a lot of people.
Events coordinator Laura Reese is also an artist who became a member of OVAC early in her career.
Long before I ever worked for OVAC, I got every email every month. I got to hear about opportunities all over the country, all throughout my state, and I got to apply for a lot of shows through it.
The story is the same for OVAC Associate Director and artist Kelsey Carper.
The first time I learned about OVAC, I was a freshman in college, and Julia Kurt spoke to my class, and I went home and read every piece of information she brought us, and I joined right away and have been involved ever since.
Now, as the marketing arm for her group, Kelsey is focused on making sure everyone hears about OVAC, no matter where they live in Oklahoma.
Artists are one of our primary audiences that we're trying to reach. We want to make sure that artists know about the resources and services and programs that we have available to help them in their careers. But we also want to reach kind of more general audiences because they are also important to an artist's career. There may be a lot of situations where a viewer will see a piece of art and just not understand it because they don't have any kind of context or reference about the background of what is this, why did they make this, what does it mean? And so a lot of the time OVAC is trying to sort of mediate that experience and help viewers understand and appreciate the work in a way that maybe they couldn't on their own. And that happens in a variety of ways through our publications, our website, our blog. We also try and create opportunities for artists and audiences to learn together and from each other.
Artist Jennifer Barron sits on the OVAC Board of Directors.
Right after I graduated from college, I started interning at OVAC, and it was really the first thing that I'd ever done in the arts in Oklahoma City, and it was kind of a window to a community I'd never really heard about. One of the things that I did when I was an intern there was I scanned in slides for the virtual gallery. So every day I would see these, every day that I was there, I would see these different kinds of art, metal sculpture, watercolors, all these different kinds of art that were being made all over the state. And it really got me excited about the art community that's here and how many people are really doing it, really making a living doing their art.
The Oklahoma Visual Arts Coalition helps artists. We do education and we do funding and exposure for artists. So it's all about how we can get artists thriving here, able to have their artistic careers here, and also connecting them with audiences every way that we can. We give project-specific grants, so these are kind of like small infusions of capital to help artists do great projects. So that might be their first solo exhibition, that might be their first time to travel with their art, or it might be a project they're trying to lead in the community. So we have a whole group of grants that help with little projects that turn into big things for communities.
OVAC was instrumental in helping me take this small idea that I thought, you know, can I pull this off on my own? And they were a huge support.
22 years ago, Ann Spoon left New York with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in hand to pursue her work in Oklahoma.
I know it sounds backwards, but moving to Oklahoma gave me the freedom, the time, and the ability to hone my craft.
With a $1,200 Community Arts Partnership grant from OVAC and a matching grant from the Okmulgee Main Street organization, Anne was able to paint 100 portraits of Okmulgee residents. Her work ended up on display at the state capitol.
I would absolutely say Oklahoma supports the arts. I think we're yearning for more art, and in fact, artists from other states are moving to Oklahoma because of the arts organizations we have here, Oklahoma Arts Council, OVAC, because of the opportunities. OVAC supports artists in that they help artists to realize their dreams, connect with other artists, give them the business tools that they need to become sustaining. They constantly have workshops. So they help artists to take a small idea and by helping them organize their thoughts through the grant application process, turn something as small as, you know, a dream in the night when you can't sleep and turning it into a reality that culminates in, you know, a show at the state capitol.
I think arts are growing statewide, and I think the business community's understanding of the importance of arts for our economy and for our quality of life is huge. I've seen chambers of commerce completely shift gears and understand the importance of creativity and placemaking to show the distinctiveness of our communities.
This was public art. We had the opportunity with a recognized artist that was planning on doing some artwork along Route 66, and given the opportunity, if we could raise just a little bit of money, they had some funding, if people were behind it, that we could get to be part of that project, and we jumped on it.
This mural by OVAC member Rick Sinnott in Bristow is another example of communities investing in art, but Mayor Ralph Barnett had to get creative to pay for it.
There are grants and so forth. Taking advantage of those grants is the key. I could do grant matching. It's awful hard to do the whole project. So we just keep our eyes open for opportunities. It worked out really well, as you can see the end results.
We need to embrace more clearly that the arts are vital to our communities and to our economies. And I think arts have a hard time making that case sometimes because we don't want it to be all about money. We want it to also just be about the artwork and the experience itself.
I think that OVAC has played a significant role in helping audiences understand art that's being made here in Oklahoma and make it more accessible to them and welcoming and help them know that it is for them.
With major events like Momentum that highlights young artists and attracts thousands of patrons, or its 12x12 fundraiser, or its Tulsa Studio Art Tours, or by providing grants to artists along with exposure and training, it's safe to say that OVAC can count its first 25 years a success. And because of them, so can a host of Oklahoma artists.
We have tons of talented people. All of them are very active, and we have amazing venues. So I think that's our plus. I would like to see us continue to grow and be more ambitious in the kinds of projects we do and the artists feeling confident in their own voices. I think that's something we need to keep working on, is people feeling confident pursuing what they really dream of and have in their visions.
The Oklahoma Visual Arts Coalition. It's how art works.